Now the product description. So the Professional Prescription Recommendation System is a web-based application with the primary purpose to provide a recommendation to the user, which in this case is a doctor, on whether the drug they are prescribing is safe for consumption. If the prescribed drug is not safe for consumption, the PPRS will recommend an alternative. The PPRS is designed for all sizes of doctor practices and is easily scalable. The system is usable for any practice or independent, qualified and certified to dispense drugs. The product was required to meet 3 key requirements in order to be judged a success. These were outlined by Dr. Tao in the project specification documentation. Those 3 requirements are as follows. Number 1, the system needed to update the drugs that the patient is allergic to and the current drugs the patient is taking. The system also needed to store the drugs that the patient is finally prescribed. And lastly, advise the user if the drug is safe for prescription. If not, it needed to suggest an alternative list with corresponding confidence level, which is associated with the similarity ratio of the drug pair. In addition to those 3 key requirements, there are several additional functional requirements that were outlined by the design team Gang of 4s. Those requirements are as follows. Number 1, a login system to create and store user details such as ID and password. Number 2, the ability to store and recall patient data. Number 3, establish a connection to a database which is used to present either the current, allergic or newly prescribed drugs. 4, facilitate the search of the database of drugs. And number 5, the system needed to be able to generate XML reports for either daily drugs prescribed or the drug profile of a patient. I will now hand it over to Matt for our demonstration.
Okay, let's demo the product. Here we are on the landing page and I'll sign in on the top right here with the administrator credentials. And we can see we have access to patients, reports, and user administration links in the nav bar at the top, followed by a sign out link. In the body of the page, we also have links to the same areas. First demo that we can create a new user. So I'll go to user administration. We can see our existing users and the roles they are a member of. I'll register a new user and I'll create a doctor called Dr. Zim with username dr.zim and password, and they can be a member of the doctor role and submit. And I can see that I have Dr. Zim here as a doctor. And just to demonstrate that it works, I'll log out, sign back in as Dr.Zim. And here we are logged in as Dr. Zim, and we just have access to patients because that is all that the doctor role affords you. Okay, so I'll just quickly log back in as administrator. And demonstrate the patients area. From here, we can create a new patient with the details here. And we can also search for a patient. So I'll try and bring up a patient. Bring up Willie. All right, here's Willie. And I will change his gender from female to male and save. And if I try to bring up Willie again, we can see that it's persisted the gender change to male. Down here we have the list of allergic and current drugs. I can edit these drugs to add in new allergic drugs by searching for a drug and adding them in. I'll just add in a couple. Right, and current drugs. Great, and if we want to remove a drug, we can just select the item and remove it. Okay, I'll go back to the patient and we can see that we have our current and allergic drug listed. I'll try and prescribe a drug from here, search for a drug and select it. All right, from the prescription recommendation screen, we see the patient, the candidate drug that we've just selected, the current drugs, allergic drugs, and drug similarity thresholds. So for a drug to be listed here, it needs to satisfy these thresholds. It must be 90% similar or better with the candidate drug, and it must also have 60% similarity with the current drugs, average similarity. Okay, so from our search, we can see that the candidate drug is listed here, and it has an average similarity of 56.44 with the current drugs. We can break that down by clicking on the link and see the similarity. And below, we can see we have another recommended drug, which is more similar to the current drugs, but it has a very close candidate drug similarity. So we could use this as an alternative. I can relax the thresholds to include more drugs. I'll try reducing the candidate drug similarity down to 80%. And we've got a lot more coming through here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and prescribe this one here. And there's all the different fields we can add to detail the prescription of the drug. I'll prescribe, and now we have logged that the administrator has prescribed this drug at this time to this patient. Okay, so I'll just go back to the main page where I can start generating reports. I'm going to try and generate a patient report for Willie again. And here we can see the XML report with all the detail. Go back to reports and generate the daily report for today. Okay. And earlier today, another drug was prescribed to Lynn Benton. All right, that concludes the demonstration.